Well, after a short lunch break, we are back and ready for the final phases of the qualifying heat stages for the second day of the opening round of the 2025 BNL Karting Series season. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the official BNL Karting Series YouTube channel and also our official Facebook page. 5 heats are in the books. We still have another 9 to go before we head to the last 4 finals of the weekend. And more to the point, we'll see who our points leaders will be, who will be on the podium after we put the 2 sets of results for the finals together and find out who will be the top 3 taking home a trophy this weekend. The best 6 out of 8 scores in the finals this season will thereby crown our 2025 champions. Has been a very, very busy weekend. We're already 24 races deep, and we've still got quite a few more to go. We're here at the home of champions Karting Genk in Belgium that has been around since 1984 and has proven to be a real testing circuit. It is one that the drivers love to come back to time and time again. And it is a track that pretty much has been the circuit that I've mainly visited here in continental Europe on most of my travels since April of 2018, when I first made my European commentary debut at this very circuit for what was at that point the first ever round of the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. So this circuit has a beautiful blend of technicality, great passing over opportunities, and flat-out speeds, with some of our classes hitting north of 75 miles an hour. So we head back down to the dummy grid for the first time as we get underway with the second batch of qualifying heats for Senior Max, as they're up next for Heat 3, Groups A versus C. So when it comes to qualifying heats at the moment, well, the opening one won by Macaulay Bishop after penalties applied, and also Tom Langlois, last night's winner in the final, who already has the championship lead in his pocket, winning heat number 2, Groups C versus D. A total of 61 senior drivers ventured to this Limburg-based circuit, not too far away from the Dutch border, around about a 15-minute drive. There's Charlie Smith from the United States of America, fresh off of a podium in his senior debut in the United Kingdom last week, being coached by Callum Bradshaw. There is Sverre Ubben, the driver that put himself on pole position out of 61 drivers. There's the man that won Heat 1 earlier on today, Macaulay Bishop from Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire. One of the standout drivers from the crew at Dan Holland Racing. Just behind him, there's the 399, running in Dams Racing colours. That is Mateja Radenkovic, who has also been one of the drivers that has been a part of this championship for multiple seasons. So the dummy grid has been cleared of the mechanics, as we are just under 2 minutes away from going racing once again. A couple of drivers opting to stand out of their seats before getting in and getting themselves settled and ready. There is Bouvin Power's Robbie Storder, the 397, also one to watch this weekend, amongst other drivers. And just behind Charlie Smith is Francis Tom Langlois from Dams Racing. Has picked up a heat win today and also has picked up the first maximum score of the season. 55 points for a win, 52 for second, 50 for third when it comes to the top 3, where the finals are where you score those all-important championship points. There's Ollie Wise, the 356 from the UK, running in the KR Sport colours. Team run under the governance of Ash Orchard. There is Jack West, formerly with KR Sport, now with DHR. Another driver that's made the transition has found speed pretty quickly. So 1 o'clock, the clock strikes, and the field makes its way out onto the circuit. So another 7 minute plus an additional lap race for qualifying Heat 3, Groups A versus C, and here is your starting grid. Front row, it's 2 Belgians, 1 for GKS on pole position, 1 for Bouvin Power alongside. Sverre Ubben starts from pole, Robbie Stodder rounds out the front row. It's Macaulay Bishop and Charlie Smith from the UK and the USA on row 2, with Matej Radenkovic joined by Tom Langlois on row 3. Jack West and Ollie Wise making an all-British row 4, with Adam Wooden and Alexander Lemaire rounding out the top 10. Knut Nielsen and Francis Royan-Bourguignon round out the 6th row, with Christopher Holst and Hungary's Armand Hamilton rounding out row 7. Lorenzo Giaquinto and Lloyd Hare round out row 8, with Cameron Nelson, William Pemble, Jay Zerveld and Alex Aim rounding out the top 20. The final 5 rows comprised by the following drivers: Luca Prima, Philip Enemark, Lex Quintens, Enes Demarkaya, Magnus Brandt, Lotte Stveen, Alexander Rasmussen, Fredrik Sorensen, Roman Rodionovs and Dante Sima, completing your 30-strong grid. So Bishop has a victory and Langlois has a victory so far today. Could we make it 3 out of 3? Who knows? Well, give us 8.5 minutes of your time and we'll help tell the story as it plays out before our very own eyes. So the drivers now will make their way towards the red line of no return, and from there is no going back. If you're not in position, well, you're going to have to wait and wait and wait, and effectively not be in the position that you would have started on. And there we see a little bit of moving from side to side by Charlie Smith. I think that was possibly Matej Radenkovic and Jack West, but they are closely packed, are these 30 senior drivers, as we come out of the final corner. It's time to go. Revs up, lights on. And the lights go out straight away. We're underway here in Heat 3. And round the outside tries to go Robbie Stodder on Sverre Ubben. And, well, Stodder has to use the runoff area. Bishop got through. I think Charlie Smith got through. Maybe even the likes of Radenkovic and Langlois could have gotten through. Well, there is Robbie Stodder. He is behind the 399 of Matej Radenkovic. 3 wide at multiple points past the bottom end of the top 15 at the back end of the field. But Sverre Ubben this time holding on to the race lead early. And he's got Macaulay Bishop in that kind of lean back style that he drives in and pivots his body from side to side. Who's in third? Charlie Smith moves up the order. And he's gone from P4 to P3. As we come round to complete the opening lap, it is Sverre Ubben that leads the way. Macaulay Bishop second. Charlie Smith, Matej Radenkovic, Robbie Stodder, Jack West, Tom Longlois. And behind Charlie Smith, well, that is Mateo Denkovic right on the Strawberry Racing Drivers' rear bumper pretty much. And through for the lead at turn 5 on the Europolon. And look at Charlie. Whoa! Charlie Smith round the outside of Sverre Ubben at turn 5. The American just went through it round the outside, punched down the throttle like smoke, like the Bandit, and got away with that one. He was nearly 2 wheels on the grass. But mighty move there from Smith. A little bit of a run wide there, coming out of turn 10 by Giaquinto. And Smith hits the front. Ubben now retakes the lead. Bishop's going to try and get through. Black and white warning flag for the 358. And that is Luca Brima. Oh, Charlie Smith having to avoid going out of turn number 1. He's just been passed. And that is going to be Robbie Stauder. So the order back to where it was at the beginning of this race. Sverre Ubben leading, Macaulay Bishop second, Robbie Stauder in third, and Charlie Smith. Well, if that's the kind of overtaking we're going to see from that American all season long, I cannot wait to see what else he can bring to the party in this championship season. So we're fast approaching the conclusion of lap number 3. Battles up and down the order. Keep your eyes on Cameron Nelson, though. Nelson is up 7 spots. Probably now up from 17th to 10th place. Tom Longlois has got Mateo Denkovic battling behind him as they filter through turn 2. As Giaquinto gets a warning flag, as does the 312 of Charlie Smith. So warning flag that race control have noticed their driving standards. And that black and white warning flag can be brandished for a multitude of reasons. But 3.5 minutes in, 3.5 to go. And the top 4 have broken away at the back end. The cork in the bottle is Jack West in 5th place. And West is finding out he's going to be mugged a little bit here. There's 2 Dams Racing carts side by side as through goes on Macaulay Bishop. I think that might have been Robbie Stauder. That might have been Robbie Stauder. Yes, it was. Charlie Smith, new fastest lap of the race, 55.078 by the American. And he is closing right on the tail of Macaulay Bishop, who's now P3. Sverre Ubben now has a bit of a lead. It's about 9/10 of a second, because when Stauder got through on Bishop, well, the squabbling started. So, round we go to complete lap 5 out of a possible 9 laps of racing. Sverre Ubben's lead now a second. Stauder, Bishop and Smith very much all on the lonesome. A 3-way scrap between the trio. Mateo Denkovic running on his lonesome at the moment. The race leader sets the new fastest lap of the race, 54.925. There is Tom Longlois rounding out 6th. He's got Knud Nielsen, Jack West, Armand Hamilton, Ollie Wise. I think also Lloyd Hare is not too far behind either. And now a warning flag going the way of Jay Zerveld in the 349, currently running down in 17th position. But Sverre Ubben is punching his ticket to become a race winner. And that'll make it 3 from 3. His lead now is just over 1.3 seconds. Charlie Smith, in the meantime, has managed to get through on Robbie Stauder for 3rd place as they filter their way up towards turn 4 and then into the hard braking zone at T5. New fastest lap now by Mateo Denkovic, the 399 from Belgium. And Radenkovic holding on to 5th in the meantime. Armand Hamilton now up into 7th past Knud Nielsen. Ollie Wise drops out of the top 10, having been deposed by Jack West and Cam Nelson. Alex Aim has moved up into 21st position, having just passed Roman Zrodinovs. We're going to have 2 more laps to go in this one. Sverre Ubben looks relatively unchallenged. P2, Bishop. P3, Smith. Stoddard, Radenkovic round out your top 5. Langlois, Hamilton, Nielsen, West and Nelson. And Knud Nielsen has just received a warning flag. So the 390 definitely has race control watching him. And at the moment, once again, Matej Radenkovic going purple in Sector 1. And his fastest lap so far, 54.727. Timer has hit 0 on this particular race as we hit the halfway stage in terms of the conclusion. But there's a spinner coming out of turn number 8. Oh, that was a KR Sport Car, I'm afraid. And that was Adam Wooden. So Adam Wooden gets it back going again, but final lap underway. Sverre Ubben looking to make it 3 different winners in 3 different heats. So far it's been Bishop, Langlois, and now Ubben wants to add his name to that list. Radenkovic with another new fastest lap of the race. Absolute best Sector 1 of anybody. 54.706 for the Belgian in the 399. There has been a change. Stoddard passed back by Radenkovic. So Radenkovic up to 4th. Leaders, however, coming out of turn number 11 for the final time. And with a gap at 1.4 seconds, it's Charles play. It's comfortable. Sverre Ubben wins on GKS Lemons Power's home track. Ahead of Macaulay Bishop. Charlie Smith. Well. It's quite big what a difference a day can make. The American finishes 3rd ahead of Matej Radenkovic. Looks like Alex Aim is also pulling the cart into the pit lane and won't take the checkered. So 29 completes all 9 laps of racing. The race won by that man there, Sverre Ubben, in the 3:46 after 12.24 kilometres. Total race time 8 minutes and 18.2 seconds. So Ubben takes the win ahead of Bishop, Smith, Radenkovic, Stoddard, Langlois, Hamilton, West, Nielsen, Nelson, Giaquinto and Wise rounding out your top 12. Ryan Bourguignon 13th, head of Lloyd Hare, Christopher Hals, Jay Zerveld, Enes Demirkaya, Lex Quintons, Roman Zrodionovs, Loises Tween rounds out your top 20 ahead of Magnus Brandt, Philip Enemark, Frederick Sorensen and William Pemble. Dante Sima 25th ahead of Luca Prima, Adam Wooden, Alexander Lemaire and Alexander Rasmussen who finished all 9 laps of racing, and Alex Aim pulling in with 1 lap to go. Well, that's the halfway point reached in Senior Max for the qualifying heats. Next up, it's their 4th race of the day so far. It's qualifying heat 4, B versus D, Senior Max up next as our drivers from heat 3 go through the usual rigmarole of technical, weighing and everything else besides.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Where you can't afford mistakes. Because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
So, courtesy of our mobile camera, we head down into the dummy grid for this next heat. There is one of the two brothers from the Van Wijk family, Jort Van Wijk, in the 333. And then also you've got Matthias Jeller, one of the Danes. Lewis Goff, who is also a driver that has made strides not just back home domestically in the United Kingdom, but also internationally. And also has been moving up the ranks in road tax competition. Also another driver that's been pretty quick this week has been the driver that's going to start from the outside of the front row, Gianmarco Cortopassi. So green flag indicates to the drivers it's time to go racing. As we now go into our fourth qualifying heat. 30 drivers will take the start again, and here is your starting grid for senior qualifying heat 4 BD. Devian Rust and Gianmarco Cortopassi lead us away on the front row. Jort Van Wijk and Tino Sidler round out row number 2 with Matthias Jaderup and Lado Kouanidze rounding out row 3. Row 4, it's Lewis Goff and Sebastian Koch with Simon Perigny and Olly Jonkers rounding out your top 10. Luca Moulard and Bastien Mesnil rounding out row 6. Thijs Van Wijk and Matteo Montrone round out row 7. Noah Janssen and Ruben Verheyen, row 8. Row 9 will be Arnold Sabarin for Canada and for KR Sport. He'll be joined by the youngster from Denmark, Benjamin Demant, in RS competition liveries. Then we've also got Artyom Sestakovs for MRG Racing representing Latvia, and also Frederick Demant from RS competition, also representing Denmark, who complete your top 20. And rounding out the 30-strong grid will be Tino Potier, Thierry Lemoyne, Adrien Stions, František Sulima, Matthias Holm Hansen, Sebastian Killerich, and there you see by our mobile camera on the curbing on one of the corners a lot of rubber marbles and strands of Mojo Racing rubber. So rounding out the 30-strong grid, Bo Alris Enzozani, Ryan Kairos from the UAE for MKC Motorsport, and Sasha Aim for Dams Racing, bringing up the rear of the field. Once again, it's going to be a 7-minute plus an additional lap adventure into the unknown. Now, we have hit 16 degrees Celsius ambient air temperature, which means there's going to be a lot of grip coming to the track as it evolves. The drivers filtering their way through turn 10 before slowing down to a crawl coming out of the 11th corner out of 13 at this circuit. So out of the final corner, revs up, and the lights are on. We are not going racing this time. Full start has been called. There was a lot of disparity in terms of gaps between drivers. There you see the grandstand in the background briefly in shots, where a lot of the rows where people have got their sunglasses on might need a little bit of factor 30, possibly. It isn't as abrasive as, say, if you were in the Middle East and it was 16 to 20 degrees Celsius, let me tell you that much. But the drivers go round for another tour of the circuit. Our race director overlooking proceedings, Manuel Branco, and his crew. That is a wonderful sight to see. The paddock full, big grids, and a grandstand filled up. So the drivers get themselves steeled and battle ready once more. And now passing the points of no return. It's down to our front row once again to compose themselves and help to bring the other drivers into an order. So they slow to a consistent pace. They head through turn 12, now into 13. We are revs up, lights on, and this time we go racing. Cortopassi trying to force the issue around the outside of Devian Ross into turn number 1. And Ross holds on to the lead going through. A couple of drivers using the runoff area, including Sulima, but Devian Ross holds on to the lead. Second, it's Cortopassi. 2 by 2 from the mid-pack to the lower part of the grid as they come through turn 6 and 7. Couple of drivers having to really watch themselves going through. 2 wide, you can make it through at turn 7 and 6 and 7. I've seen it where they've gone 3 wide, and the person on the outside is shoved into the barriers inadvertently just by being on that incorrect line. So, Rust, and now it's going to be Van Wyk. Jort Van Wyk got through on Gianmarco Cortopassi. Cortopassi fighting back, and there is Tino Sidler. There is Laro Coenice, and, well, Sidler dives through on the Italian. Can't get the move done, but he's going to try it again. More to the point, look at the pelotons that are starting to form. A Sidler again trying through on the inside of Cortopassi. He gets through. Kuhanidze gets through, I believe. And so does, I think, Matthias Jallerup in the KR Sport entry. The 353 from Denmark gets through. And Tino Sidler gets a slap on the wrist, courtesy of a black and white warning flag. So we come round to complete lap number 2. And it is going to be Devian Ross that leads the way. He's leading by over 6/10. Drivers moving up the order. Boaris up to 22nd from 25th. That's Simon Perigny battling away. I think with Lewis Goff. They nearly traded sticker kits there. coming out of turn number 3. So Matteo Monterone drops down to 13th. Lewis Goff, who sets the fastest opening sector of the race so far, now has been passed by Simon Perigny. As the field now makes its way down towards turn 10, they've broken the timing beam for sector 2. Fastest driver of which in that is going to be the number 361, Bastien Mesnil. And another move here by Andreas Jellerup. That was through on Laro Kuenice. So Sebastian Koch now trying to get through. Kuenice gets through. Is that going to be Ollie Yonkers through? Yes, it is. And so does go Gianmarco Cortapassi. Matthias Jellerup has just lost 4 places. And Cortapassi gets his elbows out up the inside of Ollie Yonkers going through turn 5. And back comes Jellerup. Oh, and he's gone straight on. Oh, Jellerup's gone straight on at turn 6. And I think maybe that could have been Ollie Yonkers that went along with him for the ride, had nowhere to go, was to the outside of the corner. So 2 drivers have a sudden fall from grace just at the halfway point. And it was Yonkers, as now through on Devian Rost for the lead. It's Jort van Wyk that hits the front. Sidler P3, Kuenice, Koch and Cortapassi ran at your top 6. Goff in 7th. Thijs van Wyk now up into 8th. Bastien Mesnil and Simon Perigny round out your top 10. Oh, the fire. It's like the angry bear that's been hibernating for the winter months has just been prodded and has made things come alive. Devian Rust still closing in, still staying very much on the coattails of Devian Rust at the moment for the race lead. Now we come round the corner out of turn number 13 to start lap 6 with 2.25 minutes to go. Benjamin Demant now gets a black and white warning flag, so the 398 from Denmark. That's your slight slap on the wrist there, I'm afraid. And Sebastian Koch now up into 5th position from 8th on the grid. He's flying at the moment, is the youngster from Germany. 55.014 is the lap time. The fastest out of anybody in this race so far. So Sebastian doing a very, very good job. Dual national, by the way. So Germany and Belgium. So in some respects you could class this as a home race for him. But Jort van Wyk is on course to possibly making it 4 different winners from 4 respective heats so far. But Devian Rust still keeping Jort van Wyk very, very honest, as Emerson McAndrew-Ewan on cue in YouTube chat. Yep, you're first, sir. Oh, dive up the inside through at turn 5. Devian Rust 3 takes the race lead with just over a minute to go. Oh, that was so close between them. Jort van Wyk nearly dived up the inside through into turn 6 to try and retake the lead. Devian Rust, I think, might have had a little bit of a touch. It put the cart sideways. He still controlled it. And there is Tino Sidler. And Logan Rolfe joins us in YouTube chat as well. Hello, Logan. Hope you're keeping well. But with 2 laps to go, well, Devian Rust back in the race lead by 0.4 of a second. Tino Sidler now trying to see if he can get through one of the new signings for Dan Holland Racing. There's always an opportunity to go to a different team in the winter period following any major national or international competitions, such as the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. But we are coming down to 0 on the clock. And that was Simon Perigny through on, I think, Bastien Mesnil at that point. That would have been for 9th on the road. Next time around, we'll get the final lap board out for these drivers for 1.36 kilometres of racing. Last lap underway. And is York Van Wyk going to pull the trigger yet? No, not quite. But what that is going to do is bring Tino Sidler and Sebastian Koch along for the ride. York Van Wyk, new fastest lap of the race, 54.924. But the field making its way through into turn number 8. There is a scramble a little bit further back heading into turn 6 and 7. But Devin Rost is hanging on by a thimble thread at the moment. He's got Van Wyk, Sidler and Koch not too far behind. It's going to be run down towards the final couple of corners. Who will get the best power out of it? It's going to be Devin Rost. 4 winners, 4 heats completed. And Rost wins by just 0.12 of a second out of York Van Wyk. Tino Sidler, Sebastian Koch, Lado Kouenice, Lewis Goff, Thijs Van Wyk, Bastien Mesnil, Simon Perigny, and the recovering Gianmarco Cortopassi complete your top 10. Savarin from Canada, Janssen from Germany, Benjamin Demant from Denmark, Matteo Montrone from Italy, Tino Potier rounds out your top 15. Taylor Wayne, Matthias Jellerup, Sasha M, Ruben Verheyen, and Frederick Demant round out your top 20. Luca Moulard finished in 21st, head of Adrien Steons. Francisek Sulima, Bo Ulrich, Sebastian Killerich, Matthias Holm Hansen, Ryan Kairos, and Enzo Zani round out. Well, not just them, it's also Ollie Yonkers and Artyom Sestikovs. They also round out the 30-strong order. So, 4 senior heats in the books, 2 to go. After this, we return to Junior Max action for qualifying heat 2, groups A and C. So the drivers make their way out onto the circuit for our second and midway point of the qualifying heat stages for Junior Max. It's Heat A versus C. Here's your starting grid. Boaz Maximov starts from pole position. He's got the fast-charging young Georgian Mate Kobahidze alongside on the front row. Vince van der Holler and Luca van Leer round out row 2. Lars Lambers, Christian Sejersen, Thomas Verheyen, Shun Sekaguchi, Max Sidersky and Boris Verhaag round out your top 10. Bodin Blankenberg, Erin Unnodogan, Louis Radcliffe, Olivier Chasse, Bran van der Weken, Len Abbas, Jens Moonen, Frederick Flood Engebretts and Alexander Holman with Ethan Griffiths, the pride of Merthyr Tydfil. Rounding out your top 20, Erik Bransborg, Hannah Kreitz, Sebastian Lösch, Ludwig Hansson, Marcus Papp, Ryan Rivers, Mason Bjerring, Conor Large, Isaac Barker, Andrea Lavazza, Luan Seidel, Alex Goodson, Kieran Stewart, Lana Munguia, Sam Caller and Tom Hedger. Tom Hedger is a non-starter as the drivers will now get themselves primed and ready for the 4 lights on the gantry going out. And welcome into YouTube chat, Patrick Verbist, Ale Bran van der Weken. So, the drivers now past the point of no return. Maximov and Kobahidze on your front row. Tom Hedger non-starting, but it is going to be a closely packed field as they head out of the final couple of corners. We go revs up, lights on. And the lights are out. We're underway. Good start from the front row. Kobahidze is going to lose a potential second place and is trying to hold on to it. It's having to use the runoff area. He's going to slip down to third in the meantime, maybe even fourth. So let's see. Alex Goodson watch is re-engaged for the second race of the day. As in the meantime, Shun Sekaguchi makes up a couple of places through turn 5. But in the meantime, well, Boaz Maximov is trying to stretch an early lead, and it's about the best part of 6 to 8 kart lengths as the driver from the Netherlands fires it through turn number 10. Vince van der Halle second, Mate Kobahidze third, Luca van Leer rounding out your top 4 at the moment. They come across the line. Shun Sekaguchi has definitely found another gear at the moment. The Japanese driver up 3 places and completes the top 5 thus far. He's got through on Lars Lambers, Boris Verhaag, Erin Unnodogan, Max Sidersky and Christian Sejersen round out your top 10 at the moment. And Dylan Hummel giving the best of luck to Bodin Blankenberg, currently running in 12th place as we are a minute and a half down in this second qualifying heat for the juniors. So 35 have taken to the racetrack this time around. The field comes through turn 10. Now the short run to turn 11. Maximov is trying to get away, but van der Halle is improving sector by sector. Took over a 10th and a half out of him in the opening sector of the lap here. And the gap now, well, it was 0.49. It's now 0.3. Van der Halle is charging after his teammate from Buvin Power. And then we've got a black and white going out to Marcus Papp from Hungary in the 240. Currently running 27th at the minute. As Shun Sekaguchi up the inside. That's through on Luca van Leer. Van Leer is trying to fight back. Going into turn 7. Sakaguchi, I think, kept it pinned. Van Leer still trying to go around the inside at turn 8. Coming out of the chicane. And, well, it looks like Sakaguchi got the move completed. But meantime, Max Swiderski is now in front of the 2-3-4 of Boris Verhaag. Swiderski dives to the inside. That was the old Nigel Mansell dummy there from Max Swiderski on Shun Sakaguchi. Wow, I haven't seen that at turn 12 for a very, very long time. But now Van der Halle engages into battle with teammate Boaz Maximov. Lars Lambers in 4th, now sets the fastest lap of this race. 56.655. Mate Kobahidze and Lars Lambers, they have an opportunity here. They are closing in, hook, line and sinker on the 2 in front. If Maximov and Van der Halle start battling away and there's contact between the pair, Mate Kobahidze will be laughing all the way to the bank if that happens. But then has to defend against the continual pressure as Van der Halle dives up the inside of Maximov through turn 12, as so does Lambers. Right, 2-3-5. Luan Seidel that's not great for visibility. 2-3-5. Luan Seidel's Nassau panel is right in his field of vision. It's up pointing skywards, I'm afraid. So there is Van der Halle versus Maximov. Alex Goodson up 7 places from P32, now running 25th. And as that stands, he also has the fastest lap of the race. And we've got another mechanical black flag. This time, Sam Kohler from the United Kingdom in the 218. So more dramas. That's 2 drivers that have been hit with a mechanical black flag. So 2-3-5, Luan Seidel, and 2-1-8, Sam Kohler, as Seidel, I believe, has parked it after the front Nassau panel was in a very, very uncomfortable position when it came to driver peripheral vision and visibility. Just over a minute and a half to go. So Vince van der Halle continues to lead the way. Gap between him and Boaz Maximov is about 3 and a bit tenths of a second. They're going to come across the line, and they have done. Gap now 0.3 of a second. And once again, well, for 2-1-8, Sam Kohler has got to pull that into the pits. Or I imagine might have done so. Louis Radcliffe now up 3 places to 10th. Puts in the fastest lap of anybody in this race, 55.982. Another place gained by Alex Goodson, now up to 24th from 32nd. But very shortly, we should be going on to our penultimate lap of this second qualifying heat for Junior Max. We'll then have Mini and Mini Rookie next up, and then DD2 and DD2 Masters their pre-final. But the action has been fast, it has been furious, it has been frantic. And at the front end of the field, look, 3 wide there. Jenthe Moonen, Erin Unnodogan, and I think Brown van der Weken was the other driver involved. As the timer hit 0, driver still jockeying for position. The grandstand off of turn 10, very much looking on as we run down the Europalan for what is going to be the penultimate time. Last lap board will be out at this particular occasion. So Van der Halle now coming down towards turn number 10. And through into 11, 12 and 13 he will go. And Maximov is right on his rear bumper. So the leaders coming through to go on to the final lap. It was 65 thousandths of a second between Maximov and Van der Halle. And at the moment, well, it is going to be Van der Halle that leads the way. Maximov just waiting for the opportunity to get that perfect switchback and get through. But at the moment, that tactic is quite clearly not working. You have someone of that caliber in front of you. But Lars Lambers is closing in on the two in front. We could have a run to the line. Out of turn 11, run down into turn number 12. Who's going to try and throw caution to the wind here? It could be Lars Lambers, but across the line they go. And it's Vince van der Halle that takes the win. Maximov P2. So Vince van der Halle wins the second mini heats, and there is Edin Unlodogan, whose kart is stranded by this side of the Europalan. So Van der Halle takes the win ahead of Maximov, Lambers, Gorberhidze, Sadowski, Sekiguchi, Verhaag, Sayerson, Radcliffe, Van Leer. Len Abbas, Badin Blankenberg, Sebastian Lösch, Thomas Verheyen. So then after that you've got Frederick Flood, Engelbretts, Isaac Barker making up 11 places to finish 18th in that one. Erik Brandsborg and Alex Goodson making up 12 places to finish 20th. Ethan Griffiths 21st ahead of Hannah Kreis. Andrea Lavazza, Alexander Holman, Ludwig Hansson, Mason Yering, Arno Munguia, Kieran Stewart, Marcus Papp, Colin Lodge and Ryan Rivers rounding out the finishers. All covered by just over 22.5 seconds. Retirements from Edin Unlodogan, Olivier Chasse, Sam Kohler and Luan Seidel, with Tom Hedger a non-starter. So we go up to our next race very shortly. It's Mini and Mini Rookie Heat 2, Groups A and C. Now time to get underway once again with Mini and Mini Rookie. Great to see so many drivers giving the thumbs up or a nice little wave to our mobile camera down on the dummy grid. Here's your starting order. And it is Max Jolly that will lead the field from pole position. Alongside him on the front row will be Austin Oman. Row 2, Matthias Verreken, joined by Francis Macandrea Quesada, Austin Gibson, and Leo Livings. I'm a bit disappointed. No jazz hands, only one hand and a thumbs up. Did the waving this time. He starts on the outside of row number 3. Jensen Walker and Ryan Rampadarath will be on row 4. Malte Holm and Tristan Abeels will be completing the top 10. Jeff Verbeek and Harry Radcliffe. Row 6, Amelie Davy and Paul Dussard. Row 7, row 8, Tom Reed and Leon Herbos. Ralph Rakaitis and Lawrence van Vlaanderen. Round out row 9, completing the top 20, Kian Hay in Mini Rookie and Anton Christensen. Then we've got Tren van Melk, Klaus Hans, Arlo Gamble, Harris Barber, Philippe Massard. No starts for DN Habit, so we'll have 25 drivers. And a nice little comment, Chris Ball, about brilliant by Louis Radcliffe. Fastest lap. I am a proud uncle. Lovely, love it. And I just want to say, on behalf of the organisation, thank you so much to everyone that's put a comment in this weekend. Very much appreciated. We'd love to hear from you. So, if you are watching, who are you cheering for? Send in your comments on YouTube or on Facebook, and I'm definitely sure that I'll make it my prerogative, apart from calling the action, to give you a shout out. Well, we are one big karting family after all. So the drivers make their way. Here we go. They're coming in. Max Jolly being given a shout out. Justin Fonkensveri Ubben. Marc-André Casadria. Ralph Rakaitis and Matthias Verreken getting shout outs by people in YouTube. Here we go. Out of the final corner. Revs up. Lights on. And the lights are out. We're underway. There is one driver that clearly went 4 wheels outside of the tram lines. Might pick up a penalty post-race for that. So we've had a drama at the back of the field. Anton Christensen. I think somebody else was there. I think. Oh, Tristan Abeels. Tristan Abeels has just ended up pointing north, so to speak. Meantime, Austin Oman dives. Oh, Max Jolly went deep into turn 5, into turn 6. And now it's Marc-André Quesada that dives up the inside for the race lead at turn 9. Up the inside of Austin Oman. Leo Livings now third. Oman retakes the race lead through into turn 10. And Max Jolly is all the way down in, that's 5th place. Quesada goes for the race lead again. Here comes Leo Livings. Austin Oman shuts the door coming out of turn number 13. Oh, we've got a corker on our hands. Quesada leads. Oman, Livings was third. Now Jolly's back to P3. Austin Gibson now 4th. Leo Livings drops down to 5th place. But what an exciting opening lap. There's the 125 of Jensen Walker. But Marc-André Quesada leads the way. How on earth did Max Jolly go so deep into turn 6? He could have lost a lot more places than what would have been 4. So through in towards turns 12 and 13 we go again. Jolly up the inside of Oman, through at turn 12. And after 2 laps, Makandria Quesada still leads, but Jolly and Aman going for the inside line. And the French driver has to relinquish that lead, and it's more than relinquish the lead, drops from the lead to 5th, right smack bang in front of Leo Livings. And now another change, Jeff Verbeek through. That's going to be on Austin Gibson for P3. Max Jolly on lap 3 now, back in the race lead. Austin Aman in second. Jeff Verbeek from Bouvan Power, who's moved. Jeff Verbeek's up 8 places. Verbeek's up 8 places. He started down in 11th and now runs a genuine P3 on the road. The racing from Mini and Minimax and Minimax rookies so far this weekend have pretty been much absolutely spectacular to witness. Close quarter, racing respect and racing room given. And as I say that, unfortunately, Matthias Verreken's just dropped down to 20th position. Oh, more dramas there for Makandria Quesada. Max Jolly, new fastest lap of the race, 59.345 for the youngster from Strawberry Racing. There's Livings, and behind him, Tom Reed definitely has got some, he's got some waft in that cart, he has. And Tom Reed now up into 6th position. 9 places gained, started in 15th position. An hour change, Tom Reed through on Leo Livings. That is now the change for 5th place. 3 minutes to go, plus a lap. We've now got another lap completed, lap 4 completed. Jolly leads, Oman 2nd, Verbeek 3rd. And Verbeek is the cork in the bottle right about now, because someone has got to pull the trigger to get through, and the first person that's got to try and do that is Austin Gibson. Tom Reed is not that far behind. You've got Livings. There's Rampadarath, who's had a better run this time. His first heat was disastrous. Ended up in the side of somebody and then got hit from behind. That was coming out of turn 5. Jolly holding on to the race lead for the meantime. Oman keeping the pressure on to the 116 from Strawberry Racing. Max Jolly being coached by 4-time BNL Karting Series champion Kai Gillets, who also, as a junior, took the Euro Trophy crown the 2 years after Mike Van Voot did the same feat in 2018 and 2019. Here goes Austin Gibson on Jeff Verbeek. And here goes Tom Reed as well for good measure. Incredible quality of racing by these Mini-Max drivers and Mini-rookies. Kian Hay from Denmark in the number 68, one of 2 rookies here this weekend, has done a stellar job and is up to 16th place. Makandria Quesada gets back past Leo Livings. That's a change for 6th position. But what has that meant for the driver up front? Well, the driver up front, Max Jolly, is doing a pretty good job. Jeff Verbeek trying to get through on the inside of Tom Reed coming out of turn 9. And the SFR driver does not let that happen. Makandria Quesada gets through at turn 10 with a little bit of force, but it wasn't really contact there. Tom Reed now dives up the inside of Austin Gibson. That's the move that Tom Reed needed to make. He's now up to P3, side by side between Quesada and Gibson just behind as they run into turn number 1. And Reed still holds on to 3rd for the minute. Bumping up into the air was the back axle of Austin Gibson there in the 152. But Max Jolly and Austin Aman just over 3.5 tenths apart. Makandria Quesada gets back up into P3. Dives up the inside on turn 5 on Tom Reed, who's going to return the favour here into 6. And he gets through. Oh, and Verbeek dives up the inside of Quesada. It's 3 wide coming out of turn 8. And Austin Gibson gets in and mugs the pair of them in the process. Awesome racing there by Austin Gibson. Awesome spatial awareness. Rampadarath now making an attack of his own. And he's just got through on the 125 of Jensen Walker. 2 laps remain. And Max Jolly is starting to stride the legs on that OTK chassis underneath him. He's 0.4 of a second ahead of Austin Amon. But the battle for P3 has been absolutely relentless. And now we come down to the final few corners of this penultimate lap. Jeff Verbeek through on Austin Gibson. That's the change for fourth as they now cross the timing beam into sector 2. Into turn 6 and 7. Leo Livings is right on the back bumper of Austin Gibson, who in turn is on the back bumper of Jeff Verbeek. They go through turn number 9. And side by side between Livings and Cassandra into turn 10. Livings gets ahead. Rampadarath holds his ground. And just behind him, he's got Jensen Walker and Lawrence van Vlaanderen. Van Vlaanderen is doing a fantastic job trying to get on terms with the Brits. 1 lap to go. And the scramble for fourth, make that fifth, begins now because Jolly's away in the distance. Oman is. So is Tom Reed. Austin Gibson is about half a second away from this battle that's being led by Belgium's Jeff Verbeek. Incredible what we've just witnessed in this second heat for Minimax and Minimax Rookie. But Max Jolly is very much on the point of doing everything he can. This will be his first heat. And in the intermediate classification, Austin Amon will lead it going into the final heat on 88 points. Makandria Casada on 73. Oh, 2 off coming out of turn 8. And one of which I have a feeling it might have been one of the SPR carts, or was it the 113? Harry Radcliffe out of the final corner is going to come our race leader, now becoming our race winner. Max Jolly wins heat 2 by 7.8 tenths of a second. Austin Amon second. Tom Reed with a dynamite drive starts 15th, ends up P3. Austin Gibson 4th. Jeff Verbeek started 11th, finished in 5th. Leo Livings, Makandria Casada. Any one of those top 7 could have won this race, but it was Max Jolly that did the business, and he gets the thumbs up from countryman Austin Amon for Sam Pollitt Racing. So, Lawrence van Vlaanderen and Harry Radcliffe ran out the top 10. Barbara Harris, that was silent but deadly for the 132. Up from 24th to finish 11th ahead of Jensen Walker. Paul Dussard, Kian Hay, Malte Holm ran out your top 15 with Klaus Hans, Amelie Davy, Ralph Rakaitis, Arlo Gamble, Anton Christensen running out your top 20. Completing the finishers, 24 in total. Tren van Melk, Philippe Massard, Matthias Verreken, and Leon Herboz. Unfortunately, Tristan Abeels retired on the opening lap of this race with the recovery vehicle now heading on to the circuit. Well, with that in mind, we go to our only pre-final very shortly, as up next, it's DD2 and DD2 Masters. So we go to the first pre-final as DD2 get their engines started and revved up. And here we go for 10 minutes plus an additional lap here at the home of Champions Karting Genk in Belgium. And with that said, here's your starting grid. It's going to be Sem Knopfjes and Antoine Babahou on the front row of the grid. Nicolas Guillaume and Laurens Herboz round out row number 2, which is an all-Belgian affair. Cosimo Durante and Nicolas Christensen round out row number 3, with Christensen leading Masters. Frederik Zebis and Hannes Morin round out row 4, with Axel Hoos and William Christensen rounding out the top 10. Then after that, it'll be Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort and Christophe Capitain rounding out the next row. Ronnie Göttler and Tino Egeskov representing Germany and Denmark, excuse me. Kian de Brandt and Jeremy Brasler are next up, ahead of Wood Kirstens and Michael Becker. Christoph Adams and Jonathan Morin. Rudins Klavins. Jonathan Wimmo, and bringing up the rear of the field, Dmitry Ostrovsky. And hang on a second, Team Leo 55. Is that not by any chance Leo Gonzalez? Ah, if that is Leo Gonzalez, welcome along. So, the pre-final, the results, when they have been fully confirmed and ratified, will then determine the grid for the final. And then the DD2 and DD2 Masters drivers have a little bit of a breather, a little bit of time to relax, as their final will be the first of the last 4 races of today, due to start at 10 to 4 local time. So DD2 drivers are aged 15 and above. The DD2 Masters drivers, 32 years of age and above. All drivers must be a minimum weight of 175 kilos, including the driver, and will be running on the same tyres as our Senior Max competitors, the Mojo D5 CIK Prime. And there we go, there's the smiley face. Hello Leo, hello family. Hello to the Gonzalez family. Ich hoffe, dass es alles gut geht, no? So there is your grid. 24 drivers, 12 rows of competitors as they filter their way through into the final corner. And here come the proverbial mind games, because we will be revs up, lights on. And the lights go out first time of asking. We're green and underway. Sem Knopfjes leads ahead of Nicolas Guillaume. As Cosimo Durante also trying to factor in. Oh, it's getting bits. Oh, there's plenty of contretemps. Oh, someone's lost an exhaust. Someone has lost an exhaust straight away. And that is the driver. Yeah, that driver's now coming through. Who was that? I was trying to pick that up just a second ago. And unfortunately, well, yeah, someone lost an exhaust and instantly went, I'm not going to do very well here, am I? Now, let's have a look, see who that was. That would have been William Christensen in the 404. And good to see that you're enjoying the show, Happy Gamer. So we have got one driver. Oh, we've got another driver in the pit, so too. Oh, William Christensen and Wout Kirstens. Now, has also Dmitry Ostrovsky pitted as well. So we are down to... So Hannes Morin has dropped down 7 places. Nico Guillaume has got... is that... Oh, that's Christophe Capitain. Just behind him, so Guillaume's lost a place or 2. Side by side into turn 6. Well, that was 2 toady carts, I think, judging by the Hot Dog Nassau panel. And Hannes Morin trying to do what he can. Nikolai Christensen. Oh, Nikolai's ended up all the way down in about 12th place. Frederik Zebis trying to go toe-to-toe with Axel Hoos, but leading the way is Sem Knopfjes. Cosimo Durante now up into P2. William Nordbeek, where have you sprung from? 11th and has gone 3rd. Well, that's the first part of that's the first carriage on the Dayton train that occupies this field. And yes, The Dane train. If you mention the Dane train, you've got to instantly think of Nicky Thiem. The blonde-haired Viking of the World Endurance Championship. Right, so Lawrence Herboz is definitely getting a wriggle on. He's just gone purple in Sector 1. Knopfler's purple in Sector 2. That was until Guillaume decided to do that. Hannes Morin has said, right, let's pick up the pace, boys. As Nikolai Christensen gets past and dispatches Tino Egeskov like he was standing still. Durante had Norbeek through, and that's Barbaru through. Will it be another place lost for the Italian? No. But Barbaru gets through on Norbeek to now take second place. Right, drivers, let the chase begin. Nicolas Guillaume has the fastest lap of the race so far, 54.547. Nikolai Christensen now rounds out the top 10. Hannes Morin up to 12th now, having started 8th. Dropped all the way down to 15th position. So, William Christensen out, Wout Kirstens out, Dimitri Ostrovsky out. We are down to 21 drivers. So this is quite crucial. Oh, and Nico Guillaume gets a slap on the wrist with a warning flag. But there is still an opportunity for him to make up a place or two. He's now running in 6th. So we are making our way towards halfway in this race, which will decide the grid for the final later on at 3:50 p.m. local time. And, well, Sam Knopfjers is clearly away in the distance. His lead now 1.5 seconds. Head of Antoine Barbaru. William Norbeek still holding on to that 3rd place. Head of Lawrence Herboz. Cosimo Durante now down to 5th. Guillaume 6th. Christophe Capitan now leads Masters. And he's 1.6 seconds head of Nikolai Christensen. Lawrence Herboz, new fastest lap of the race. 54.391 by the Belgian. Ran as a senior last year. Now, currently back into, well, up into DD2. Seen a lot of drivers do that. But I've also seen junior drivers in the BNL Karting Series alumni that have gone straight from juniors and they've gone straight up into DD2. Tom Bracken and Enzo Boll, you've just been name-checked. And we've got a battle. That is the 466. Oh! That was very, very nice by Ronnie Göttler. And that was through on Egeskov, and Kian de Brandt also followed in line by the German. Frederick Zebis now puts his marker down to claim that fastest lap of the race, 54.296. Now, Hannes Morin is struggling a little bit in this race. Now, the air temperature now is 16 degrees Celsius. Track is still dry. We are due to hit 18s or 19s. So coming down to the final 3.5 minutes, only one driver has incurred the all-seeing eye that is race control, and the only driver to have a warning flag. Well, he's now through on Cosimo Durante for 5th position. A lot of activity at the back end of the field from, I think it was from Nikolai Christensen backwards. There's Kian de Brandt, who's got, who's he got behind him? Kian de Brandt, Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort, and the 516, I think that's Jeremy Brasler from France. So lots of changes happening up and down the order. When we get to Sunday, it's a bit like everyone's gone, right, I know what I'm doing. let me get on with the job at hand. Well, if you told Kimi Räikkönen that back in, what was it, 2012, and then ends up going off at the escape road at Interlagos, as Kian de Brandt got a bit of a scare. Now he's just adjusting something on the engine on the right-hand side. Oh, dive and a half there on Brasler. That was Axel Hoos. Antoine Babahout is now starting to scythe his way into Zem Knopfier's lead and has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 54.266. Kian de Brandt now tumbles outside of the top 15 and is running 16th. But Knopfier is trying to keep a hold of that lead. Babahout was slightly quicker in Sector 1, slightly quicker in Sector 2, but by thousandths of a second. As there's going to be another lap completed here in the pre-final. Lap 9 completed. Gap now under a second for the first time in a while. So, speed trap indications. Lawrence Herbo's 117.2 kilometers an hour. Fastest in the whole field. It's equal between Michael Becker from Germany. Well, he should be fast. He likes driving on an Autobahn. So do I. And also, I think it was Jeremy Brasler. On that lap, they both had the same indicated speed of 117.5 kilometers an hour. So that is just over 72 miles an hour, give or take. But Knopfiers is starting to lose a little bit more time. Babahout is closing. But we are probably on the cusp of maybe one and one more of this of the race distance. So on to lap number 11 we go. So 18 laps completed in the final yesterday with regards to the pre-final. 12 laps, which is what we pretty much might be on course for. 15 seconds to go, plus an additional lap. And Tobias and Frank Schwieren saying Shepherd's Racing. I know exactly who you're wanting to say it's going to be. Last lap board is out. So last lap underway, and the gap between Zem Knopfiers and Antoine Babahout now drops to just over 0.8 of a second. And Hannes Morin closing in on Tino Egeskov for 11th place, whilst battling away with a man who represents a team that he previously raced for, Dan Holland Racing's Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort, who's happy that his BFF is also on the track at the same time as him. But considering the fact that Zem Knopfiers has got a lot of natural talent, has only been competing in karting, in this kind of karting, I might add, for a handful of years. Started a little bit later than everybody else. But checkered flag waves. Zem Knopfiers is going to win the pre-final here in DD2 and Masters. Babahout second. Norbeek from 11th to 3rd. Herbos, Guillaume, Durante. And winning this time, it's not Nikolai Christensen, it's Christophe Capitan in the 528 that started 13th, finishes P7. Frederick Zebis and Ronnie Göttler round out your top 10. Hannes Morin and Tino Egeskov round out the top 12 ahead of Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort. Axel Hoos and Kian de Brandt. Jeremy Brasler ends up P3 in Masters ahead of Jonathan Morin. Christoph Adams, Michael Becker, Jonathan Wimmer and Rudis Klavins, who round out the finishers, 21 in total. And unfortunately, we lost William Christensen, Wood Kirstens and Dmitry Ostrovsky very early on. Well, that concludes the second phase of these qualifying heat stroke pre-finals. Next up, we go on to our penultimate qualifying heat in the third phase of these qualifying heat stages on day 2. Up next, Senior Max qualifying heat 5, A versus D. So it's time for our penultimate qualifying heat for senior road tax. After these next two races, once the intermediate classification has been verified, we will have 36 drivers moving on to the final stage, and most importantly, the opportunity to score championship points for the 2025 season. So they start their engines and start filtering out onto the circuit. So here we go with our penultimate qualifying heat of day 2 of round 1. It's senior qualifying heat 5 AD. Here is your starting grid. It's going to be Sverre Ubben on pole position, Gianmarco Cortopassi alongside on the front row, Macaulay Bishop and Tino Sidler row 2, Matej Radenkovic and Lado Kuhanidze row 3, row 4, Jack West and Sebastian Koch with Adam Wooden and Ollie Yonkers running at the top 10. Knut Nielsen and Bastian Mesnil round out row 6. Christoph Holst and Matteo Montrone row 7. Lorenzo Giaquinto and Ruben Verheyen row 8. Cameron Nelson, Benjamin Demant, Jay Zerveld and Frederick Demant round out your top 20. There's going to be no Alexander Rasmussen coming to the start. Might be in the repair area, I fear. So 21st, Luca Brima, then Theo Lemoyne, Lex Quintans, Francis Exulima, Magnus Brandt, Sebastian Killerich, Enzo Zani, Roman Srodinovs and Sasha Aim will be taking the traditional start. I love the fact that Leo Gonzalez and his family have gone full Italian, apart from the hi Alex winky emoji face. Forza ragazzi MKC. But karting needs no language barriers. It never does. It never has done. We all have the same passion and love for this sport. And for those watching at home on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel and Facebook page, thank you for joining us all the way through the day. After these last 4 qualifying heats, we'll be taking a short break, and then we'll be back with our last 4 finals. So there'll be a separate stream on both Facebook and YouTube for that. And if you haven't already, do the good stuff. Do the like, do the share, do the subscribe. And also, if you are on YouTube, hit that notification bell, because as soon as we go live, your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop, your personal computer will get the notifications coming through. And then you can enjoy more karting. So win-win for everybody. So the drivers, led by Sverre Ubben and Gianmarco Cortopassi, are getting us ready for the penultimate race of the qualifying heats, as they will now, amidst a cloud of exhaust smoke, go into the tram lines. And we are underway and racing. Down to turn 1 we go for the first time. And Sverre Ubben is leading the way. So 3 wide coming through turn number 5 down the Europalan. And greetings to my good friends over in Chinese Taipei and the island of Taiwan. Roger Young joins us in chat officially. Hello, ready to watch Bishop make some crazy overtakes? Well, it's going to be for the lead, Roger. If you know Macaulay that well, like I do, once he starts, you can't stop the Hoddesdon freight train. And there we go. Move up the inside. Radenkovic through. And that was on Gianmarco Cortopassi. After the opening lap is completed, Sverre Ubben leads the way. Macaulay Bishop second. Tino Sidler third. Compression between certain drivers going through into turn 1. Looks like Cortopassi had a little bit of a squeeze. There is Matteo Motrone, his teammate, that I think just went around the outside of him through turn 4. That is Motrone there. So got through. As all too wide. That was through turn 7, and they just about made it through by the skin of their sticker kit. And whichever 2 drivers that were, I'm sure that they might just want to just check their underpants after that, because that was a scary moment. And some drivers getting the elbows out, some drivers such as Cameron Nelson firing it up the inside of DHR teammate Christopher Holst, Matteo Motrone. Oh, and one of the RS competition carts has got. Oh, now that person might have a bent back axle on the left rear, and I'm not too sure who that was. I'm wondering if it might have been Knud Nielsen. But someone got a good old whack on the rear wheel going through coming out of turn 1. So that just goes to show how quickly things can change. So black and white warning flag is going out. And that is more than likely going to be the... Might be 350, might be Enzo Zani. I'm just going to wait for it to show up on the live timing as Sverre Ubben has lost the lead to Macaulay Bishop and now is being pressurised by Tino Sidler. Sebastian Koch has got through on Jack West for position. That's for P5. We've got Ludo Guanidze behind them. But halfway through this penultimate heat, Matteo Motrone has, I think, has just had a disastrous second sector. Sverre Ubben retakes the lead from Macaulay Bishop. Bishop dives from way back where? I think he lunged from probably just after the start finish straight, angled the cart, boom, there he was, through. It's like seeing a hot knife go through cold butter. Sverre Ubben's now lost second to Tino Sidler, but the rubbing sidewalls, there was smoke billowing from it. Oh, that's one of the things you do not want happening on a race day. You get a bit too close, like Senna and Mansell did in 91. They were millimetres apart. That was sidewall scrubbing at its finest. And there goes Mateo Denkovic through for P3. But by him diving towards the inside at turn 10, Sidler, I think, may not have had any alternative. 3 wide coming out of turn 13. You don't see that very often. Oh, ho, ho, ho. And Jack West was the man on the inside that got the job done. Wow. We've seen Charlie Smith throw it round the outside, do the Slim Shady at turn 6. We've seen Jack West get the double switchback through the final corner and get the buy one, get one free. And now we've got Koenidze battling away with Sidler going into turn 6 and 7. Well, it's hard, fast racing here in seniors. And this race has just lit a fire under people's seats. And for those watching, is it going to get any better? Well, we got one qualifying heat to go, and we've got the top 36 going through to this afternoon's final, due to take place at 10 to 5 local time. Bishop now back in the lead, as we've got a little bit of a battle happening further back. Cam Nelson, who is very proud of his Welsh heritage, and there is Gianmarco Cortapassi going through on teammate Lorenzo Giaquinto. So Cortapassi started on the front row, is now down 10 places, running 12th. We are fast running out of time for these drivers. 30 seconds to go, and there's still 2 laps remaining on the counter. And there's a dive that is from the 311. Christopher Holst gets through on Lorenzo Giaquinto from Italy. Change for 13th place. Timer now counts down. 3, 2, 1. Timer has expired. Next time around, we'll start the 9th and final lap of this race. Meantime, battle for the race lead is firing up. And what I mean by that, Sverre Ubben is right all over the back bumper of Macaulay Bishop like a bad rash when you get ill, or if you've got an allergy against something like stinging nettles. And Bishop holds his line into T1, now into 2. And what's more, keep your eyes on the 2 behind. Mateo Dankovic and Sebastian Koch making it a 4-way battle for this race lead and what could be the win. So Bishop has won a heat. Langlois won a heat. Ubben's won a heat. And so is Divian Rost. Could we have our first 2-time heat winner today, or could someone else add their name to the list? Keep your eyes on this, because it's now going to be a run to the line. And Bishop is going to pull away. He pulls the right-hand side. And it's Bishop. Bishop, who takes his second heat win of the day by just over a tenth of a second. Sverre Ubben takes P2 ahead of Mateo Dankovic. Sebastian Koch, Jack West, Tino Sidler, Laro Koenitze, Bastian Misnil, Knud Nielsen and Ollie Yonkers ran at your top 10. Good work by Cameron Nelson to start 16th, finish in 11th ahead of front row sitter Gianmarco Cortapassi, who finished ahead of teammate and countryman Lorenzo Giaquinto. Christopher Holst and Adam Wooden ran out to the top 15 with Ruben Verheyen, Magnus Brandt, Sasha Aim, Lex Quintens, Romans Rodinovs, Tia Lemoigne, Benjamin Demant, Francis Exulima, Luca Prima, Jay Zerveld, Sebastian Kinnerich, Enzo Zani and Frederick Demant being the last of our classified finishers. With 6 laps to go, we lost Matteo Montrone and Alexander Rasmussen, a non-starter. Next up, the final qualifying heat for Senior Max this weekend. It's qualifying heat 6, groups B versus C, coming shortly. So for those watching on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel and Facebook, there is the track itself. And what a... it's been really, you know, it was really cool to have Dan Pepples in the booth with me, the voice of the Next Gen Cup, who was raced on this 1,360 metre circuit on the rental carts that the circuit have here. But from my perspective, I actually drove on this track back in April 2022 after the opening round of the Euro Trophy that weekend. And here we go, we've got Senior Max coming up very shortly. But just to give you a little bit of an insight from my perspective, I can understand how difficult, how taxing this circuit can be, because you've got those lengthy the start-finish straight and also the back straight on the Europlan. You've got to be very, very committed on the brakes here. And it's also a momentum-carrying circuit. You know, going through turns 2 to 4, you are constantly on the throttle, you are constantly making steering adjustments, and your rib cage is taking an absolute pounding. So I completely understand and I respect all these drivers, you know, and I was on the Project T20, so Hannes Morin, you'll probably be quite proud of me for that one. However, the green flag waves at the end of the dummy grid. It's time to decide who will be going through to the top 36 final later on today. And it's time to take you through the grid for qualifying Heat 6, seniors. Groups B and C. Devian Rust and Robbie Storder will line up on the front row of the grid. They will be joined by Jort van Wijk and Charlie Smith on row 2. Matthias Jaderup and Tom Lenoir on row 3. Lewis Goff and Ollie Wise, row 4. Simon Perigny and Alexander Lemaire make it a all-French affair on row 5, thereby completing the top 10. Then it's Luca Moulard and Ryan Bourguignon on row 6. Row 7, Thijs van Wijk and Armand Hamilton. Noah Janssen and Lloyd Hare round out row 8. Row 9, Arnold Severin and William Pemble. Atim Sestakovs and Alex Aim round out the top 20 ahead of Tino Potier, Philip Hennemark, Adrien Stions, Enes de Merkaya, Matthias Holm Hansen, Lotus Tveen, Bo Alris, Fredrik Sorensen, Ryan Kairos, and Dante Sima. So, Roger Young, I'm going to answer your question with regards to what happened when half of one senior group, which was about 14 drivers, did not have a time. Well, there's a 60-second cut-off window, and someone might have impeded everybody else, which probably caused the issue as a direct consequence. That's from my understanding. I don't know any more than that, but I hope that's answered your question, Roger. I know you were sending me WhatsApp at 2:30 this morning whilst I was still asleep. I know there's a time differential. I hate to think what time it's over in Chinese Taipei in the island of Taiwan at the moment, but never mind. So, drivers are getting ready. Red lights on the gantry for one final time. After this, once everything's been confirmed and ratified, the top 36 senior Rotax drivers will go through to the final. And who will join Tom Lenoir as a race winner in a final this year? So, revs up, lights on, lights are out, we're underway. Good start by the front row as Robbie Storder trying to go around the outside of Jort van Wijk. And, well, Robbie Storder, Devian Rust, my apologies there. But, oh, a little bit of bargy, elbows out and sharpened standing knives. Going through turn 2 into turn 5 for the first time. A couple of drivers trying to play it safe by going around the outside. Some drivers trying to force the window of opportunities to come their way. One driver just did so. Through into turn 8. But drivers leading the way. Well, it's the 393 of Devin Rost. 397 of Robbie Stordeur. Jort van Wijk rounds out the top 3. Charlie Smith, Tom Langlois, Ollie Wise, Lewis Goff. That's rounding out the top 7. However, change for the lead. Stordeur through. And so is Jort van Wijk. I'm waiting for Emerson to come into chat now. One of the drivers from Dan Holland Racing. And, oh, well, Charlie Smith just been looking towards his right-hand side. And as someone got through on him, that's the thing. Well, the lead is still, well, its lead has changed again, it looks like. So, could be either Devin Rust or Jort van Wijk. It is going to be Robbie Stordeur now leading. Nice little move there by the 353. Matthias Jallerup from Denmark on Alexander Lemaire. That was through at turn 10. Charlie Smith trying to go through at turn 13 on Devin Rust, but that did not want to happen. So just under 5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. It is going to be rather touch and go as to seeing the body language of drivers after this. And what I mean by that is there'll be exasperation and just sheer frustration if they haven't gotten through. And that can happen. You can be on the, on the chopping block if you're not, the highest placed out of the highest placed, one of the highest placed 36 drivers after all the results have been tabulated and put together. But Robbie Stordeur trying to see if he can pull a little bit of a gap between himself and Jort van Wijk. However, Tom Langlois enters the party and gets through on Charlie Smith, who's now got Ollie Wise on his case. And Langlois loses a position. Make that 2, so Wise gets through. So does Smith. Smith being in front of Wise on that particular occasion. Arnold Sabarin for Canada in the 309. Puts in the fastest lap of the race of 55.499. The driver running on the Cosmic chassis. Resplendent in the traditional KR Sport colours. And funnily enough, I can actually name a few people that have raced for KR Sport in those colours in this championship. Lewis Gilbert being one as a junior back in 2018. Joe Turney, when he blitzed the field in 2018, my first weekend as the commentator for the BNL, but we had no live stream at that point. So I had to do old school. Charlie Smith gets a warning flag. Clayton Ravenscroft, that man needs a mention. Sean Butcher, a previous champion of this series, has also won. And Elliot Papacena joins us in chat as well. Good to see you in there, my friend. But Robbie Stordeur doing a pretty sterling job at the sharp end of the field. He's leading. We go in towards turn numbers 12 and 13. The lead he has last time around was about 0.3 of a second at the last intermediate. And we go across the line. It's going to be 2/10 that his lead is at the moment. So Robbie Stordeur, Jort van Wijk and Devin Rust rounding out the top 3. Charlie Smith for Strawberry Racing representing the Stars and Stripes. In 4th, Tom Langlois 5th, Ollie Wise, Lewis Goff, Matthias Jallerup, Simon Perigny for the Le Hook Racing Team in the top 10 again, along with Hungary's Armand Hamilton. Oh, but elbows are definitely out at the sharp end of the field. Robbie Stordeur frantically defending down the Europalan. So there is an opportunity for the likes of Jort van Wijk, Devin Rust, Charlie Smith, Tom Langlois, Ollie Wise, and at the back of that train, I cannot believe it. Who is there? 323, Ryan Bourguignon has an outside opportunity here. 3 laps to go, and we have not got a clear window into seeing who is going to win this race. Folks, pick a card, pick a number, and place your bets. As Bourguignon at the back end of the top 11, who last time around were covered by 3.2 seconds. Well, make that 1.9 seconds. 55.165 was the lap time. Now coming out of turn 9. Look at the train. It's like Snake, playing Snake on your Nokia 3310 if you're old enough to remember. Move, however, as the 344 of Alex Aim has just been passed by countryman and teammate Tino Potier. This is going to be a last couple of laps you will never forget, because the top 11 make that. Okay, top 13 drivers covered by 2.5 seconds. Jort van Wijk gets through. Devian Rust gets through. Robbie Stordeur drops down to P3. Charlie Smith was trying to have a little bit of a nibble at the process and did not get through. Now more changes afoot into turn number 6 and 7. Oh, everyone's fired up and cooking on gas at the moment, aren't they? Well, here we go. Timer has expired. There's one more lap to go after this. And who's going to be leading us going on to the final lap of the race? It's going to be Jort van Wijk for Dan Holland Racing. Devian Rust, Robbie Stodder, Tom Longnoir now up into 4th. Ollie Wise, Lewis Goff is also in the mix. Charlie Smith, Armand Hamilton, Simon Perigny. That's your top 9 covered by just under 2 seconds. Hard on the brakes into the European. We go for the final time. Longnoir's got a real big, good turn of speed. He's going to try and see if he can get past Robbie Stodder into the chicane at turn 6 and 7. But the Frenchman is denied. He's got Wise breathing down the back of his race overalls at the minute. And Longnoir might not be done yet. And Lewis Goff nearly went wheel to wheel round the outside of Ollie Wise. Through turn 10, it's the run down to the final couple of corners. Devian Russ switches to the outside to try and get the undercut. But is he going to do it? It's going to be close. No, Van Wijk holds on. 93 thousandths was the winning margin. If that is not an appetizer to whet your palate, ready for the final, I don't know what is. After 9 laps, the top 11 drivers covered after 9 laps, split by just under 2 seconds. Van Wijk wins it ahead of Rust, Stordeur, Longnoir, Wise, Smith, Perigny. Good job by Goff. Didn't end up going up the order, but still kept it a top 8 finish. Hamilton, Armand Hamilton moves up 5 places to finish 9th. Ryan Bourguignon and Enes de Mercaya from Germany made up the most positions in this race. 24th to 11th. Artyom Sestikovs, Tino Potier, Thijs van Wijk, Noah Janssen, Alex Aim, then Lloyd Hare, Luca Moulard, William Pemble, Arnold Sabaha rounding out your top 20. Frederick Sorensen, Philip Enemark, Matthias Holm Hansen, Dante Sima, Adrien Stions and Rein Kairos from the UAE completed the finishing order. Unfortunately, with a lap to go, Lotus Tveen was out. And then a lap before, Matthias Jellerup, Alexander Lemaire and Bo Ulrichs, unfortunately, retiring early doors. That concludes the Senior Max qualifying heat stages of the competition, because next up, we return to our 3rd and final heat for Junior Max Groups A versus B very, very shortly. There is the field of the drivers that have just been out. Oh, and 370 Dante Sima, I think, might have just had the iPad of Doom, or the tablet of Doom, as our team member Adri is looking to see if bumpers are in. If he notices that one is out of position, click, and the job is done with a photograph. So all the drivers will be weighed post-session. No less than 162 kilograms. And, well, you can see a lot of people gathering there in the wonderful sunshine here on Sunday afternoon in Limburg. 16 degrees centigrade. A great job there by Jort van Wijk to win that final qualifying heat for Dan Holland Racing. So, our field on the dummy grid is ready. We've got 2 more qualifying heats to go before a short respite ahead of the finals. So let's take you through the starting grid for the final qualifying heats. Groups A versus B for Junior Max. 7 minutes plus an additional lap. And it will be as follows. Boris Maximov and Jacob Ashcroft will line up on the front row of the grid. Vince van der Hullen and Storm van Rossum, row 2. Lars Lambers and Noah Barham, row 3. Thomas Verheyen, Harry Freeman, Max Swiderski and Ryan Gandor round out your top 10. Badin Blankenberg and Lenny Horbiolegash round out row 6 ahead of Louis Radcliffe and Rory Armstrong. Bran van der Weken and Lieke van Berkel, Jens de Moonen and Lucas Thorder, Alexander Holman and Guernsey's Cody Lepetahel round out your top 20. Completing what will be a 35 strong grid as Max Grassini from Luxembourg will take no further part in this competition. It will be as follows. Eric Bransborg, Ava Morris, Sebastian Lersch, Devon Mieta, Marcus Papp, Jack Collinson, Mason Yedding, Emily Siedkowska, Isaac Barker, Samir Paul, Luan Seidel, Justin Fonk, Kieran Stewart, Nicolas Machon and Sam Kohler from the United Kingdom rounding out your official grid. So for the juniors and the minis, drivers competing in 2 of the 3 qualifying heats. Qualifying heat 1 went the way of Jacob Ashcroft. Qualifying heat 2 went the way of Vince van der Hullen. Will it be 3 different winners from 3 different heats? Or could we have one of those 2 drivers I've just mentioned, one of which is the current reigning and defending champion, ensure themselves on pole position for the final at 4:30 this afternoon? So the red lights are on the gantry, into the tram lines, revs up, lights on. And the lights are out. We are underway and racing. Good start from pole sitter Boris Maximov. Couple of drivers, I think including Lenny Horbiolegash, having a little bit of a moment going down into turn 1 for the first time. The 210 goes a little bit off track through the runoff area. That was Mason Yedding from Denmark. It's going to be side by side, a little bit further back. Oh! Couple of dramas here. 2 backwards into the barriers and return to the circuit at the same time. 266 and 232. Devon Mieta and Ava Morris. Oh. It's just that it gets to that point now where some people are being, well, I would not say the word, I'm not going to say anything to basically make, provide any derogatory terms to drivers. But when we're getting to this point of the day, there are some drivers that take unneeded risks, and especially when it's on lap 1, because that can make the difference between one driver having a good day in the office and then said same driver might have a really bad day later on. So I hear a noisy exhaust in the background, so someone might have to park it. Well, I've just seen Ava Morris just come through, driver for KR Sport, and she's just crossed the line. Meantime, at the front end of the field, it's a quartet of drivers that are battling away. Maximoff leads it, head of Van der Halle, with Ashcroft and Barham rounding out your top 4. So the top quartet is now up the inside. Goes Vince Van der Halle, gets through. Ashcroft not able to facilitate that either. Badine Blankenberg has just been passed by Lenny Hobiolagash. As, oh dear, Alexander Holman. Now there's someone pulling into the pits. And I think that might have been... Well, that was the source of the noisy exhaust. So Alexander Holman, I believe, has just parked the cart in the pit lane. But that was for a very, very noisy tailpipe on that cart. Now change for second through turn 9. And that is Ashcroft through on Maximov. Barham, Swiderski, Lambers, Verheyen, Van Rossum, they're all there. Harry Freeman, Louis Radcliffe and Rory Armstrong might not be that far behind either. So a few changes. Sam Collar down to 29th, head of Kieran Stewart, who completes the top 30. And Jacob Ashcroft doing, making sure he's got the presence of mind and making sure that he does not compromise his race. We hit half time on the countdown to 0 from 7 minutes. Can't have an engine sounding too good, says Estenba. Well, it's basically to do with noise restrictions as well. And plus, if that is not on there, then technically it's not safe. Up the inside through turn 12 goes Jacob Ashcroft. Now, is this going to give the opportunity for Boris Maximov to get through on Vince van der Halle? Yes, it does. And now, Max Swiderski has moved his way up the order. Eric Brandsborg and Luan Seidel, they have dropped. Luan Seidel down to 33rd. Devon Yater. Eric Brandsborg down to 30th. Have to give a shout out to Ava Morris. She has decided to go on. She's about, about 24, less than 13 and a half seconds behind the next place driver. And just seeing, she hasn't, where was she in the previous races? 18th in Heat 1. But Ashcroft looking to do what he can. He won the final yesterday. He wasn't the outright fastest in the racing, but he did the business where it mattered the most. Max Swiderski now trying to go up the inside of Lars Lambers. That's going to allow Noah Barham from Dan Holland Racing to go through. Keep your eyes on Storm Van Rossum. Van Rossum was also trying to get through and thread the eye of the needle. Not too sure if he did make the move stick. But Storm trying to get through at that point. But Ashcroft is leading. Not by much. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. 5. So that's the top 6, who could be joined by Storm Van Rossum and Louis Radcliffe. Jenthe new fastest lap of this race. 56.765. Black and white warning flag going out to the 240. And that's Marcus Papp. And Maximov is now between a rock and a hard place. Oh, Maximov has just lost out. Swiderski has got through. Barham has got through. Van Rossum now with the 230. Or is that Lars Lambers, I believe? It will be Lars Lambers on the back of Boris Maximov at this point. Little adjustment on the right-hand side for Jacob Ashcroft. Looks over his left shoulder, coming out of turn number 11. And then through into turns 12 and 13. Gap last time round was 0.2 of a second. It's now a tenth. And Van der Halle is trying to force the issue. He's trying to see if he can force Jacob Ashcroft into a mistake. But that's opened the door for Max Swiderski. Van der Halle, he tripped over his own shoelaces. Oh, and we've got one car off. That is the 253. It was a great day in the office yesterday, and that could signal the end of the day's running for the 253 from the United Kingdom. Isaac Barker out of this race as we hit 0 on the timer. Next time around, we've got 1 lap to go. And anyone ordered some fireworks of the karting variety? I think the fuse could be lit shortly. As on to the final lap, we are about to go. Van der Halle back through on Swiderski. Ashcroft leads us on to the final lap. And now Van der Halle and Swiderski start battling like they have done so far this season. And Noah Barham could be there to pick up the pieces and potentially help to get a DHR 1-2. Ashcroft turns it in, clips the apex. Van der Halle runs a little bit deep. Swiderski to the inside. Could this be a double push for the 297? Noah Barham's going to try and feed it through. He does! And so did Lars. Was that Boris Maximov? Yes, Maximov got through. Van der Halle opened the door twice and has felt the brunt end of the stick. Meantime, Jacob Ashcroft is running away with it. Ashcroft through into turn 12, turn 13. He's going to book his place on pole for the final. Ashcroft takes the checkered. Second goes to Swiderski. Third, it's Barham. Maximov fourth. Van der Halle, Van Rossum, Lambers, Freeman, Gandor and Hobiolagash round out your top 10. Thomas Verheyen, 11th head of Jenthemunen, Bodin Blankenberg, Sebastian Lersch, Jack Collinson, Louis Radcliffe, Lucas Stordeur, Lieke van Berkel, Nicolas Machon, Mason Yering, Marcus Papp, Devin Mieta, Emily Siedkowska, Sam Kohler and Kieran Stewart ran out your top 25 provisionally. Samir Paul, Eric Brandsborg, Luan Seidel, Justin Fonk, Rory Armstrong, Cody Lepaterel and Ava Morris round out the finishers. 32 in all. Bran van der Weyken and Isaac Barker out. Alexander Holman out. And Max Grassini, a non-starter. Well, that was a very, very frantic last couple of laps in that Junior Max final qualifying heat. But if that result stands, Ashcroft is on pole for the day 2 final. One more qualifying heat to go here on day 2 of the season opener here in BNL 2025. It's Mini Max and Mini Rookie. Qualifying heat 3, A versus B, coming up next. So we have one more qualifying heat to go. There is Matthias Verdaken. He'll be lining up on the inside of row number 2. It's a 7-minute plus 1 additional lap qualifying heat. Engines fired up and drivers head out onto the circuit. So in terms of minis today, well, Riley Morrow won the opening heat. Max Jolly won heat 2. And now we've got them on the front row. Here's your grid. Max Jolly and Riley Morrow line up on the front row with Jolly on pole. Matthias Verdaken will be on the inside of row number 2, joined by the Netherlands Mick Klinkers in the 105. Austin Gibson, and I'm so pleased I got this news from his dad Bo earlier on. Finn Albert Jorgensen is in the kart, here to compete. That's row 3. Jensen Walker and Dimitar Lazarov will round out the next row. Malte Holm and Conrad Doyle will round out the top 10. Jeff Verbeek, Andreas Jederup, Amelie Davey, Lewis Boots, Tom Reed, Tygo Holdhausen, Ralf Rakaitis, Benedictas Masiokas, Kian Hay, Victor Reutz, Sven Van Melk, Alfie Mayer, Arlo Gamble, Noah Stehouder, Philip Massard and Mila de Kalsmaker round out your grid. So the drivers now start to filter their way through into turn number 11. Max Jolly and Riley Morrow have a win apiece. If one finishes ahead of the other, and it's enough, one of those drivers will end up on pole position in this final coming up. So the drivers come out of turn 12 and turn 13 for the final time in qualifying heat stages. We're revs up, lights on, and the lights are going out. We're green and underway. Max Jolly fends off Riley Morrow as the field hurtles down to turn 1 for the opening tour on this circuit. And it's 2 abreast, side by side. Heading through in towards turn 4, there's an absolute scramble and a half. And the drivers still make it through but there has been... Oh, Kian Hay gets turned around. And there's also somebody around at turn 6. And this is really, really tricky for these drivers. But Riley Morrow has taken the lead off of Max Jolly within the first lap. Matthias Verdaken holds on to P3. Move up the inside of the 108s, which is Conrad Doyle. I think that might have been possibly Andreas Jederup that got through. More moves happening into turns 12 and 13. But after the opening lap, Riley Morrow leads. Max Jolly second. 64 thousandths behind, but Max Jolly has got through. Back again to retake the race lead. Through 2, now into 3, then heading into 4 at high velocity. So, well, Victor Reutz getting forced a little bit wide by the 159. That was Alfie Mayer. But there was no contact between the two. There's plenty of racing room between them for that move to be facilitated. However, into turn 10, the leaders go, and it is a lengthy front group rounded out by the 126 of Jeff Verbeek. That's the top 9. You could add Lewis Boots to that mix very shortly, because let's put something into perspective. Top 16 rounded out by Conrad Doyle, covered by 3.7 seconds. So 4 minutes and 30 still to go. Max Jolly trying to see if he can pull out a lead, but it's been quite close between him and Riley Morrow in this early stage of this race. We're about 50 seconds away from half time, and then there'll be that additional lap. Max Jolly at the moment, if it stays like it is, will go on pole position. And effectively, Riley Morrow will be second on 94 points after intermediate classification. Austin Amman will drop to third. Austin Gibson will move to fourth. Macandria Quesada and Tom Reed will be level on 73 apiece, but Quesada will be fifth. Reed sixth. Leo Livings and Jeff Verbeek will round out the top 8 out of 36. Alfie Mayer, new fastest lap of the race, 59.237 for the Brit in the 159. He's made up 12 places from 22nd, and he now runs 10th. And good to see Finn Albert Jorgensen still having that Danish resolve to keep on fighting. He's just been passed by Tom Reed as we're past the halfway point of this race. And Tom Reed up now into, that's 9 places gained by the Brit. And he finished P3 in the previous one, gaining 12 places. So when you've got the likes of Jolly and Morrow battling away over the race win that will decide pole position for the final at 10 past 4 this afternoon. Well, if Tom Reed goes any higher and puts himself on 41 points, that'll put him on 82. That will put him 4th, possibly. And that's if he gets ahead of Austin Gibson. Now, Tom Reed is closing on people in front. And look at what is happening here. This is Matthias Verdaken in 3rd place, who is the cork in the bottle. Tom Reed is only 2 further carts behind, because you've got Austin Gibson and Andreas Fiala up between them. Now, Verdaken goes wide, coming out of turn number 12. Oh, bumps over the curbing. Oh, that's unsettled. Matthias Verdaken, Tom Reed now senses an opportunity to get himself in the top 4 for the grid for the final. This could be a fairy tale story for him. Fairy tale story happening for Alfie Mayer at the same time. 22nd, now 9th and climbing. And even though there's 1.5 minutes left plus an additional lap, there is still an opportunity for someone to go for broke. And at the minute, Riley Morrow has just gone purple, sector 1. And Jolly has responded with a purple sector 2. This is really getting feisty. Tom Reed is 2 positions away from getting into the top 3 and booking himself on one of the 2 opening rows. If he gets an opportunity, he's going to go for it. It's Tom Reed. He tried to look up the inside of Andreas Yetterup, and Yetterup's just said, right, that was not on, mate. Sorry. You're going to have to wait. Matthias Verdaken having to deal with the likes of Alfie Mayer in the body in white, unstickered front bumper, who's now with Tom Reed. Riley Morrow has got the fastest lap of the race. This is getting very, very close for comfort. Just behind the likes of Gibson, Yellerup, Reed and Verreken. Well, Verreken has been... I don't think Verreken's been passed, has he? Yeah, he might be, because Alfie Mayer is scarpered away. Yeah, Finn Albert Jorgensen with a very... I have to give his dad, Bo, a lot of credit. They put it back on with the bumper from the... They put it back with the bumper that had just had the rollover in the previous heat. 1 lap to go. Who's it going to be? Will it be Jolly? Will it be Morrow? Well, we've got just over 1,000 metres to find out, but everything else behind is really coming to a fulcrum. Oh, that was a switchback and a half from Alfie Mayer. Dived up the inside of Andreas Yellerup from Denmark with KR Sport and stole 4th place away. Leaders in the meantime coming through in towards turn 8 here on lap number 8 of this race. So next time round we'll be going on to our 9th and final lap. These Minimax drivers have done fantastically well, and they provided us with such scintillating action, but the battle for 3rd is still going to wage on. Last lap of the qualifying heats underway. Oh, and Andreas Yellerup's lost big time. Hemorrhaged places down the start-finish straight, and who is in 3rd? I think, don't tell me that's Finn Albert Jorgensen. I think Finn Albert Jorgensen, it is! It is! Finn Albert Jorgensen got through for 3rd in the melee. Wow! He's more than making up for it. Oh, and Morrow round the outside at turn 6. Oh, Riley Morrow threw a howitzer, a haymaker round the outside at turn 6 on Max Jolly. He went for it and it paid off. How's about this? These 2 drivers will be on your front row. And who's going to pick up the win in final 2? On day 2, but out of the final corner, it's a run to the line, it's a photo finish. Morrow takes the win by 45 thousandths. All I'm going to say is that move by Riley Morrow had shades of a certain DD2 driver a couple of years ago. Jan Dams, you know who I'm going to name check now, reminded me of Sebastian de Grand a couple of years back. Morrow through the haymaker, through the Slim Shady, round the outside of Max Jolly, and he made it work. So Riley Morrow takes the win by 45 thousandths. Finn Albert Jorgensen, from a rollover and possible potential injury in the previous heat, comes back to take 3rd. So well done to that young man from Denmark. Austin Gibson, Jeff Verbeek, Tom Reed, Alfie Mayer. Round out your top 7. Alfie Mayer, 15 places gained in that race. Andreas Yellerup, Jensen Walker, Lewis Boots, Dimitar Lazarov, Matthias Verreken, Malte Holm, Victor Reutz and Conrad Doyle round out your top 15. Head of Tiger Holthausen, Trent van Melk, Mick Klinkers, Noah Stehouder, Kian Hay, Amelie Davy, Ralph Rakaitis, Mili de Koolsmekker and Philip Massard rounding out the 24. Benedictas Masiokas. I think, well, I'm not too sure if there were transponder issues or anything like that. Arlo Gamble also out of this race. But that concludes qualifying heats for day 2, round 1 for the BNL Karting Series for 2025. Whew. I think in the words of Henry Baudet, I need my tablets, I need a dark room and a bed I can lie down on right now. But there's still more to come. There's still more to come. Folks, we have the finals. Yesterday, we got points on the board for several drivers, but we're going to find out who will be the points leaders after the final 4 races. This has been a WFR live TV production. We'll see you in a few moments' time for the finals for day 2 of the season opener of the BNL Karting Series in 2025.